Hi folks, Nat here from Living Entertainment. Today I wanted to do a video on my thoughts about the Audiolab 8300 monoblock amplifiers. It's been a little while since I've sat down and had a chance to have a really good listen to some gear. Something about today inspired me to do it, so we're filming what I thought about it. So what we had hooked up here was the Pro-Ject Streambox S2 Ultra. It's a digital transport only. It's hooked up to the Audiolab M-DAC Plus via USB into the back, and that M-DAC Plus is actually acting as not only the digital to analog converter, but also the preamplifier in this case, feeding into the 8300 monoblocks. Now, before I get into what I thought about the sound, I'll give you a little bit of background on the actual products themselves. So these things are pretty unique in the marketplace. I feel that they are probably, if not the best priced, as in dollar per watt monoblock amplifier out there. They're $4,000 and you get 250 watts per channel out of these things, which is unbelievable value, at least I think it is anyway. And that's for the both of them too, not just one, but that's two monoblock amplifiers for $4,000, 250 watt at 8 ohm, something like 350 watt at 4 ohm, and they've got a peak going out to 450 watts. So, you know, these things could drive a Mack truck. You know, pretty good value little things, and we hooked them up to, I'll get Dan to pan out to a set of Dynaudio Evoke 50s here on the inner edge, and then something probably outside of what you would normally pair these up with, a set of Contour 30Is, but we just wanted a reference on something that's a little bit up there. Now the first track I listened to was Boz Scaggs' Thanks to You. I listened to this track because it has amazingly deep bass, and there's one particular note that really drops down. Now I was listening to that on the Evoke 50s, and let me tell you, that combination of the 8300 and the Evoke 50 is something else. It was really quite cool. Full solid bass. It was just a fun experience. Mid-range was nice and clear. Vocals come through really good. The imaging, while I'm talking about vocals, I found that with this particular setup, I had needed a lot less toe in. I wasn't really getting good image, and then I actually brought them in. They brought them in a bit further, and yeah, and then all of a sudden there it was. So I don't know how that translates to a lot of other speakers, but today with the Evoke 50s, not a whole lot of toe in, and there it was. Now the highs, and once again, plenty of detail, maybe a little bit sharp. Now I don't think that is due to the 8300s. I think that's the complete digital front end with a really quite transparent DAC in the M-DAC Plus. So I just turned it over, and there's one particular filter, there's a bunch of filters in that, and there's one there where you can do sharp roll off and Bob's your uncle. Depending on what speakers you've got, obviously it's all going to perform very differently, but for me that was the key, just doing that, and I got my cake and got to eat it too. We changed over to the Contour 30Is. That was like going from listening to a very good recording to almost like a live performance. It was different. The vocal actually dropped down in the mix, but the whole mix didn't drop, if that makes sense. So in other words, the height was still there, but the vocal came down a little bit, which took me by surprise. It was also deeper in the mix, and just the clarity, honestly, it felt like I was sitting there listening to it. Yeah, so that was really cool. Now, one thing though, I do believe that these, as good as they are, probably aren't the best match for the Contour 30Is. Not because they're not good, I just think that the 30Is have got so much to give. Honestly, you could put a 20 grand amp on them and they'll just keep on improving. You could put a 30 grand on them and keep improving. They're just that classy of a speaker. Yes, you can pair them, but I think you can do better on the 30Is. However, Evoke 50s, that was really cool. Next song was some electronica. It was In a Piece by CLOZEE. That track, once again, is really good for testing bass, but there's a bit where there's, I don't know, it's like a juddy sort of sharp sound that comes in at the start that can really be quite ear-piercing on some systems, and this one, you definitely noticed it. You know, you've got two products here that are really good at detail retrieval, and it came through, but it didn't really hurt, particularly once we did that roll-off filter on the M-DAC Plus. So that was really good. Once again, really solid bass line in that, really noticed it. But it did highlight something for me when I was listening to it, and that was that the Evoke 50, believe it or not, with this combination actually had more bass than the Contour 30i, which took me by surprise. Wasn't quite as tight as the 30i, but there was definitely a bit more of it. So if you're one that likes to really feel that bass, the 50s are going to fill your room. You know, if you've got a big room and you like bass, that combo is for you. Now, the next track I put on was something a little bit more laid back. It was Paul Simon's Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes. Now, this track's got a really fun intro. It's sort of like Hawaiian themed, and I was just really enjoying it. I don't have a lot to say about this track because I actually just sat back, relaxed, and listened to the music, which is actually a good sign that you're enjoying the system. If you can just sit back, relax, have fun with it, that was it, and that's what that track did for me. So that's all I have to say about this one. The next track that we put on is really raw and quite edgy. It was Teen Spirit by NIRVANA. That has really distorted guitars at the start. I'm sure you've all heard it, you know what it's about. And this system portrayed every little bit of that rawness. Super transparent. If you want to feel that edginess, this system is really going to highlight it for you. The last track we listened to was a bit of folk rock. It was BOONE from the Marcus King Band. And I gotta say, that was actually my favorite song to listen to. My foot was tapping, I was getting involved with the music. It starts off with a nice light guitar and then progressively gets built up, and before you know it, it's really moving along. There's lots of instruments, things going on in there, but it was great. I could pick between them, and it was really involving. So if I had to say this system was good at one thing over another, it was be folky rock, believe it or not. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Not to say that the other genres aren't great, but that was my particular favorite today if I had to choose a genre. That's it for now, guys. As always, thanks so much for watching. Now, if you'd like to know anything more about Audiolab's products, such as the 8300, please feel free to get in touch with us. Simply give us a call if you're in Australia, send us an email, leave a comment below, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching again, and bye for now.
If you enjoyed this video, you can support us by giving us a like and subscribe, along with hitting the notification bell. You can also follow us on our Facebook and Instagram. Until next time.